here I am. See, I'm currently on vacation in Africa, seeing my family for the Christmas break. And while I was chilling and doing my own assorted vacationary activities, a new chapter dropped, the last one of the year. Now, while I read it and there were some interesting things to talk about, and of course I wanted to review it, the question was, would people still watch the review, considering that, I don't have my equipment? But when I posted the poll on my story, you guys definitely said, please keep doing it. So here I am. And you know why? Because I'm dedicated to the game. Am I recording this in a bathroom? Maybe. Am I using my phone's microphone to record this? Maybe. Is it 1 a.m. and I did this entire recording 30 minutes the first time and it got messed up so I have to do it again? Maybe. But you know why I did it? Love of the game and the dedication. So guys, if you rock with the dedication and you appreciate it, please do this for me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content just like this every week. Because see, even when it's break time, I don't take breaks. Because I love you. And share it around with all your friends who love the series. You know what we say, let's get it going. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to me and my friends over at CSY. I promise you we are doing big things. Now starting us off, we have a color spread of straw hats, all with what seems to be water guns, and they're just having a grand old time. They're riding on top of a mechanized battleship Frankie, huge robot version, and I was like, okay, interesting, Frankie shine. I didn't really get it at first until I realized why Frankie's getting shine. And it's because Kazuki-san, who is Frankie's voice actor in anime, stepped down from his role. It's Oda's way of tipping his hat off to him. Thank you very much for all your service. And you know what? I want to echo that sentiment. Because between Frankie and Don Clay, you did an amazing job. Now starting the chapter off proper, we have Luffy hitting a Yakuza pose and just, Mr. Saul, I heard that you helped one of our fledgling youngsters back when she was a kid. And here are the reasons why she's with us now. Please allow me to introduce myself to you. As everyone else is looking around like, Luffy, where did you learn this from? He's like, nowhere. I just kind of, picked up on it. And to that I call cap. This is what Jinbei did right before he joined the crew. Luffy literally says, allow me to introduce myself, and Jinbei, the title of the chapter he's doing is called, allow me to introduce myself. It's 1-to-1. And Saul's just like, you don't have to introduce yourself to me. You're world famous as an Emperor of the Sea. I should know. I used to be a Marine, so I know how important it is to be called an Emperor of the Sea. Then Saul's just like, Robin, what did I tell you? Friends who love you, cherish you, won't abandon you. And Robin is like, true friends. While Saul introduces him to them properly, he says, oh yeah, me and Anji, that's my assistant. We've been practicing that bit for a while, just, to make sure that everything comes together well. And as Saul is explaining all this, Lilith boasts up to Saul and like, oh hey, you remember me? I was like, lady, I don't think I've ever met you once in my life. And Lilith is just like, it's me, Vegapunk. We then have Jinbei carrying a huge container and giving it to Lilith. Wanted me to carry this off of Egghead. Here you go, but is it? First of all, the fact that the meme of Jinbei being a UPS driver actually came to fruition, that's just hilarious to me. But then, oh dear, Lilith says inside the box is a perfect copy clone of the Stella body of Vegapunk. And that of course the Stella had a perfect copy because this is what the Stella had to use to go to other islands when the government was watching the body on Egghead. Are we for real? As Lilith is explaining her plan, she just says, I'm gonna build my new lab here, and then with that, I can essentially bring Vegapunk back to life. And then, of course, Bonnie says, oh, you're gonna help Papa too, right? And Lilith is just like, yeah, I will. And we're just gonna stop right here, because if you don't understand why Vegapunk and Konoha come back to the story in this way is actually really bad, I don't have words for you. I lied. I have a lot of words for you. Guys, think about it. If we're doing this, what does death even mean anymore? No, like seriously, what's the point? I was just at a funeral like 2 days ago. I understand death. It's serious. It's final. And that's why when you use it to write, it's supposed to be powerful. The fact that Oda keeps trying to have his cake and eat it too with getting the emotion out of us but then still bringing the characters back is horrendous. And this was the point of Mordred's video that everybody kept debating him about, which I'll leave links to in the comments because honestly, I agree with him. But it's like, you don't do that because that's bad storytelling. People, of course, retaliate, oh, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It doesn't matter if there's, because then the point is just, why do it at all? At that point, just never have the situations where they could die. Think about it. Vegapunk dying was literally the trigger that allowed him to spread all that information throughout the world. It put pushed us into this final era that we wanted to be in for so long. You're telling me that has no meaning? You're telling me Kuma sacrificed his humanity, his sense of self, and essentially became brain. He sacrificed all of that for his daughter, and in being dead, still there for his daughter, and that was what made it powerful. You're telling me that all that just goes away? I can't look at the Kuma flashback the same, and that's tragic because Kuma flashback is one of the best flashbacks we have in the series. I just genuinely don't understand why Oda keeps doing this, and at this point, if you don't acknowledge that it's a problem too, I can't help you. I guess we're just fundamentally different than that. Like, I'm actually frustrated thinking about this. You know what? We're moving on. So we have Anji introducing herself to the rest of the Straw Hats, not only Soul's assistant, but also the librarian of the school. That's when they learned that there's Walrus Folk School. See, the group splits up with some of them wanting to go off and see the school, some of them going with Saul to see the library. Then, for some reason, Jinbei and Frankie doing their own thing with investigating the tree. I don't know what that's about. But basically, as the group splits up again, you have Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp running away from some giant kids who just start chasing them, as play, everything's cool. And then as everyone's having a good time, what does the King of Huff decide to say? Oh, Luffy, should I cut them down? No, Zoro. No, you shouldn't cut down the children. Like, really? Is that what we're doing now? We're killing kids? You know what? I think we finally found what ZKK stands for. It was never Zoro kills Kaido. It's Zoro kills kids. But as they continue interacting with the kids, they realize that these kids they're really fragile, docile, really like nice and kind, but not, the hardened warriors that everybody thought Elbaf was. And that's when they realize they are standing atop a giant woman named Ripley. Now, Ripley is the biology teacher at school. But I wish she could teach me a few things, if you know what I mean. Okay, not that crazy, but still, guys, Ripley is... Oh my goodness, this is a scandalous shot. I just know Oda was having fun drawing this. And also remember that giant kid who Shanks was with, Colin, and in the other chapter he said, I have to go give Ripley apples. This is Ripley. So as Luffy is quite literally laying in her cleavage, Ripley just explains that, oh yeah, the aggression, the violence, the pillaging, the hating that the giants used to be known for, yeah, we don't really do that anymore. She mentions that she herself is one of the few remaining members of the old guard who actually uphold those things. But their late King Harold put into place a whole peace era, and this is why the children are growing up, not actually really being fighters. The king had Saul make the school 20 years ago for this reason. And that's when we learned that King Harold apparently was such a visionary that he wanted to actually revolutionize that ran. But because of that, he was killed by his son Loki, who since then hasn't been acknowledged by any of his claims to the throne. And the final interaction we have from this group is Ripley just questioning Luffy on his 5 form, where she doesn't know it's called Gear 5. She's just like, oh, that white form that you have, yeah, it really looks like one of our fabled legends, Nika. We then cut to the Owl Library with Robin's group who followed Saul. And I don't understand how, but anytime you try and bring a book into this place, immediately gets gigantified. I don't understand the logic behind it, but honestly, I don't want to. It just adds to the magical quality of this world and the world building series. I genuinely love it. And then Saul reveals to Robin that literally all of the books that were ever on Ohara managed to save them from burning and kept them. It means that Robin is actually going to be able to read up on research that all the scholars were doing back when she was a kid. Essentially continuing on literally Ohara's legacy. So as we just get Robin being real happy there, and smash cut to seeing the land of the dead, where Loki is having an end with somebody. The person's like, I'm sorry, am I disturbing you? But Loki's just like, nah, just like me, all you've got is time. Loki's like, so that moment of true fear that you mentioned before, that's what still motivates you? And the person on the other end is, I'm still feeling that fear to this day. That's when Loki reveals that even though they've been friends for a long time, it's curious because they've never met face to face. Apparently there was some certain event, but whatever that event was, Loki was like, listen, if I was in your place, I would have destroyed everything and killed everybody. Bro on the other end of the phone is just like, hey yo, I don't want to do all that. Let's chill out, bro. I'm just a chill guy. But Loki's just like, you see, and this is the problem with you, too naive. You gotta make sure that the enemy doesn't have any chance to retaliate. Stamp him out now. So just on Mosa for a bit, the person's name seems to be Mosa, but in the Japanese version, there seems to be a certain suffix used that is denoting some sort of ability or royal status. So either Mosa is another royal, literally part of the royal family. So that would be weird that they would never met them because assume that they have, or it's just some other noble. Either way, Mosa is another character to look out for. But then Mosa is like, thank you so much for your counsel. Genuinely, you always use such harsh words, but in reality, I can read the undertones and you're just really a nice guy. And see, Mosa is just saying what I have been saying. I think our expectations of Loki are actually about to be subverted, and it's going to be shown that he's actually a pretty decent guy and not evil like most other media portray him as. And this is making me actually interested in Loki's backstory because it may mean that he didn't actually kill his dad. We have the situation where he may be being framed for it, and he wasn't the one who did it, but he's taken the fall. Or it may be a situation where he actually didn't want to and people saw him do it, but it was more of a Kakashi Rin situation where he was being forced into it for some reason. Either way, very interested in this character. Loki is the most interesting thing that's happening in the country right now. Well, that's what I would have said if not for the last page of this chapter. So we cut to the Giants with Dory and Brocky and shown that they couldn't wait for the rest of them, so they already started partying. Then in one of the castles, we see a huge amount of Conqueror's hockey lightning just flashing out. Inside the building, two hooded figures appear, coming out of a demonic summoning circle. One of them is someone we've never met before, but looks to be like a woman with one of her eyes being covered, curiously like Sanji. But the other one is Shanks, or at least that's what Oda wants us to think. Cause see, here's the thing. If you've been in the community long enough, we know what's going on here. The Shanks evil twin theory has basically been confirmed. People who are deeper into the community, like we people on YouTube are, know that this theory has been out for a while, ever since the Reverie, where the Shanks person walked into the Gorosei to talk about a certain pirate, but in doing so, we see the left side of his face where the scar should be. People said maybe it's just a coincidence, but now it happened twice because if you look at that panel and this panel, literally 1 to 1. And y'all know the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I will not be shamed. To think that the evil Shanks twin theories are finally coming to fruition after all this time makes me so interested in this family. And if his brother is Shanks and his dad is Garland, we know that he's strong too, so let's see what happens. Now, what do you think this person's name is? Personally, I'm banking on Figureland Banks. Of course, put whatever name you think you should have in the comments. But there's still more things to note about this. Firstly is the fact that they came out of one of the demonic summoning circles. As if we remember, this is what the Gorosei used to pull up to Egghead when Saturn summoned them using 5 paths of purgatory. What this implies to me is one of two things. Either Emu gives his demonic powers, or at least some of the demonic powers, to other people besides just the Gorosei, or maybe Emu or one of the Gorosei is able to create warps for them. It's like, oh, I want you to go here, so here, I'm making this warp. Now you step into it and go. But then the other thing to realize is that, wait, this means that these guys are God's Knights. And with the fact that the God's Knights is going to be the major faction that we're going to have to start going up against, especially because Dragon mentioned it a few days ago when the God's Knights are about to start mobilizing, oh my goodness, am I excited. I can't wait to see what the God's Knights as a faction show us, especially because they'll build upon the government being the final villains. Anyone up for a confrontation between Shanks and Banks? I know I am. But guys, don't let this excitement get to you. Even though this was an amazing end of the chapter, everything that happened before with the whole Vegapunk still being alive still soured it way too much for me. So between that and then the rest of the chapter just basically filler blend, to me, I might have to give this a 4. People say that's low. And yeah, it is. Tell me, what did you think about that chapter? What would you rate it? Let me know all your thoughts and more in the comments, because genuinely I'm interested. Now that is going to be the end of the review. Before we go, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content just like this every week. Share it around with all your friends who love the series. Remember, I'm trying to build a community, but I need your help to do it. That's going to be all for me. Catch you on the next one, and always remember, One Piece, One Life.